and DMZ. After that, we assign the zones to the interfaces. Now we need to configure the policies. First, let me to configure the policies from inside to outside. Assume that we need only establish telnet connectivity from R1 from inside to outside. Look at here. I'm going to write here my, for example, configuration. Here in the inside, from the inside to the outside, I want to enable only telnet protocol. This is only one example, telnet, not other protocols. For example, we will not have ICMP or ping connectivity from the inside to the outside, but we can send telnet traffic from the R1 to the R3. It is so easy. How we can configure it? The configuration of zone-based firewall is so similar to the configuration of the modular QoS CLI or MQC. If you have learned about the MQC, you can easily understand the configuration of the zone-based firewall. But let me to say that here about the configuration of the, for example, zone-based firewall. First, at the first step, we should configure the zones or security zones. Okay, you learned about it, security zones. After that, we should assign the security zones, okay, security zones to the interfaces. And after that, the next step is that we should configure class maps. Okay, class maps. In class maps, we can identify traffics. For example, I want to allow telnet traffic. We should use class map. After configuration of class map, we should configure the policy maps. In policy map, we say if a traffic match with the specific class map, the traffic should be forwarded, should be dropped, should be inspected. Okay, and finally, we should assign our policy maps, okay, to the zones. Actually, here we will have service policy map to, or apply policy map to the security zones. I will explain all of them, don't worry. Let me to use here apply policy map to security zone. First, you know that until now we have configured security zones, we have assigned security zones to interfaces. Now we want to configure class map. In class map, we should identify the type of traffic. Okay, here you can see the configuration of class map type inspect. Okay, and after that we can use ACLs to classify traffics. Let me to show you how we can configure class maps. First, we should configure access list to classify traffic, and after that we can use the ACL in the class map. You can configure access list with numbered ACL or with named ACL. If you use number ACL inside the class map, we should use match access group, then number ACL number. And after that, if you configure the named ACL, you should use match access group name and then the name of the named ACL. Let me to configure one ACL to classify telnet traffic. You know that we want to allow the telnet traffic from inside to outside. Because of that, we can configure this ACL in the router 2. This is the router 2. I'm going to configure an extended access list. For example, here we can use IP, then access list. Okay, IP access list, then extended. And after that, we should give this access one name. For example, we can use telnet. IP access list extended telnet, and after that permit a TCP from this network. This network is 10.120.0.0.0.255, for example. Okay, means from the inside network, and after that to the outside network. Outside network is 10.230. Okay, again 0.0.0.255, and after that EQ means equal 23, means if we send traffic from the 10.120/24 network to the 10.230/24, and this traffic is has the destination port of the 23 TCP/23. Okay, this traffic can match with this ACL. This is our ACL. Now we can configure our class map. Inside the class map, we can use use the ACL, named ACL or number ACL. This is the class of traffic that we want to apply policy to this type of traffic. For example, here we should use class map. So easy. Then, because this class map is not MQC a class map or modular QoS QoS a class map, it is the actually in security class map. We should use class map type inspect. So easy. Okay, class map type inspect, and then here we have two logic: match all, match any. Means match all means if here we have multiple match condition, all of those condition should match, and match any means only one of them match is sufficient. Actually, match all means and match any means or. Here it's not important for us. Let me to use class map type inspect. And then, for example, here we can use the telnet traffic. This is the telnet traffic that we have, or if you want, you can use, for example, tel. Tel means telnet. And here, match access group. So easy, match access group. Then, because this we configured the named ACL, match access group name, then telnet. What does it mean? It means that if the traffic receives, okay, and this traffic match with the ACL telnet, that traffic can classify with the class map type inspect tel. Now we can apply our policy to this, for example, class map. Let me to configure these two options, these two objects in the router 2. First, the ACL. First, let me to show you show IP access list. We don't have any access list. Okay, configure terminal IP access list extended telnet. Okay, permit TCP from 10.1.20.0.0.0.255 to 10.2.30 again 0.0.0.255 EQ23. Okay, this is the IP access list command. And after that, let me to configure the class map. A class map type inspect, the name of class map is tel, for example, and then match access group name, the name of ACL telnet. So easy. Now we have a class map. You can use show a class map. Okay, show class map, then type inspect to see, to verify the class map you configured. Class map type inspect match all. This is the default logic, but here we have only one match command. Because of that, it is not important to configure match all or match any, because you know that match all or match any only is useful when we have more than one match command. Okay, match access group name telnet. That's it. And then we can configure our policy. About the policy, we use policy map like the QoS. Okay, policy map type inspect, and don't forget for class map and for a policy map, if you want, you can configure description. I didn't configure description for class map, but for policy map, if you want, you can configure. Look at here, policy map type inspect, description, and then for this class, please apply one of this logic. Let me to explain this logic. Here we have three logic: pass, inspect, and drop. Pass means please pass the traffic. Okay, and inspect means please pass the traffic and keep the state of the traffic. It means that if a traffic from the inside go to the outside, the state of this traffic can be saved in the router 2, and router 2 again should allow the response of this traffic from outside to inside. This is the inspect. And drop means drop. Let me to explain them here. We actually, in the policy map of the zone-based firewall, we have three type of actions, three most useful type of action here. The first is pass. Pass means, for example, here from the inside, this is the inside zone. Okay, connected to the router 2, and then outside. When you configure pass, it means that, for example, traffic from the router, from the inside to the outside can pass from the router 2. But when we send this traffic from inside to outside, the answer cannot allow from the router 2, because we configured only pass. We didn't configure inspect. You know that pass means don't keep the state. Okay, only pass. But when you configure inspect, it means that please pass and also keep the state. And after that, if we receive the reply, please allow it to, for example, receive in the inside. And drop means drop. Okay, pass, inspect, and For example, drop. I will show you all of them, and then here drop. So easy. Let me to configure inspect in the first time. Okay, from the inside to outside here. This is the configuration of the router 1. You know that